I mention one thing?
And there goes Whoopi.
Then give me the respect.
Whoopi Goldberg just did something no one saw coming. She stormed off The View in the middle of a fiery debate with Karoline Leavitt. 1 second, they were trading heated arguments about America's future, and the next, Whoopi was ripping off her mic and walking off set furious.
She's probably gonna make a lot of money off of it, so I get why she did it.
The audience sat in stunned silence as Leavitt smirked and delivered a final mic drop moment that left everyone talking. Was this Whoopi's breaking point, or did Leavitt just expose something The View couldn't handle?
Turn on the television, girl.
Where are you going? Where are you going?
I'm leaving y'all.
Karoline Leavitt walked onto the View set prepared for a debate, but what she got was a full-on clash of generations that had the entire audience on the edge of their seats. She was there to talk about young conservatives and how they're shaping the future of American politics, but Whoopi Goldberg wasn't interested in hearing any of it. Before Leavitt could even finish making her point, Whoopi cut her off, shaking her head in frustration.
How do you love your country and support and normalize somebody who was a convicted felon who really wants to destroy the country, in my opinion?
Your generation has no idea where this country has come from, Whoopi snapped, her voice dripping with condescension. The tension in the room skyrocketed. The audience could feel it. This wasn't going to be a polite back and forth. Whoopi wasn't just disagreeing with Leavitt, she was dismissing her entirely. Leavitt, though, didn't blink. Instead, she turned to Whoopi and hit back with a question that stopped the show in its tracks. Did your generation solve all of America's problems? That you now feel qualified to lecture us? The air got thick. Even the other co-hosts looked uneasy. Whoopi's expression hardened. She doubled down, claiming her generation fought through wars, discrimination, and real struggles, while young politicians today just argue on social media. Wasn't backing down. Did your generation leave us a better country? Because from where we stand, the borders are open, the economy is collapsing, and our values are under threat.
So please stop using that phrase and talking about, because you don't understand what you're saying. You're saying about yourself that, you know, hey, that's a terrible thing to be. It's not a terrible thing to be. That's why we fought. That's what we were fighting for, so that you could stand in that podium.
Whoopi Goldberg was done playing nice. What started as a heated debate had just turned into an all-out battle, and she wasn't about to let a younger conservative call her generation a failure on her show. She leaned forward, her voice sharper now, eyes locked on Karoline Leavitt. America is still standing because of our generation, she fired back, her tone filled with frustration. We fought through wars. We fought through discrimination. We built the foundation that you and your generation are standing on today. The audience clapped, but it wasn't the usual roaring applause Whoopi was used to. There was tension in the air, the kind that made everyone sit up a little straighter. The other hosts looked uncomfortable. Even Joy Behar, who lives for Whoopi's fiery moments, glanced at the producers like she knew this was not going to end well. Leavitt didn't hesitate. She turned slightly in her chair, crossed her arms, and hit back with a statement that sent a shockwave through the room. Did your generation leave us a better country? Because from where we stand, the borders are open, the economy is collapsing, and our values are under threat.
Muslims deal with this on 9/11.
Whoopi Goldberg had it. The debate had gone from heated to explosive, and she was not about to sit there and listen to Karoline Leavitt challenge her like that. Her face was tight, her lips pressed together in frustration. She adjusted her microphone, took a deep breath, and then boom! With one swift motion, she ripped off her mic, yanked it off her shirt, and pushed back her chair. The sound of her mic hitting the table made the whole room jump. The audience gasped, the other hosts looked frozen, and Karoline, she just sat there watching, completely unfazed.
Turn on the television, girl.
Whoopi wasn't just leaving, she was making a statement. She stood up, started walking off the set, and right before disappearing behind the cameras, she turned around one last time and snapped. This debate doesn't interest me. If you don't want to hear the truth, there's no point in me being here. You could feel the tension in the air. It wasn't just awkward, it was uncomfortable. Some audience members clapped, some murmured, but everyone was in shock. The cameras followed her exit, capturing every second of the moment that would soon take over the internet.
But also recognizing, like, I'm doing this work for my son and for all children to make this country better.
The second Whoopi Goldberg stormed off set, the entire studio was frozen in shock. The audience didn't know whether to clap, gasp, or just sit there in stunned silence. The other hosts were scrambling, whispering to each other, frantically trying to figure out how to salvage the show. But Karoline Leavitt, she didn't flinch. She sat there cool as ever, watching Whoopi disappear backstage like it was just another day in politics. And then, with a slight smirk, she turned to the audience and delivered a line that instantly went viral. The truth can be uncomfortable sometimes, but we're here to keep talking about America's future. Boom, mic drop, crowd erupted. And not just the usual conservative viewers who might have been on her side. Even some of the View's regular audience members clapped. It was a moment that no one saw coming.
And then I'll move on and do something else. But, you know, this chaos of 24/7 work is a temporary matter. And that's what at least I tell myself.
The other co-hosts, still flustered, desperately tried to regain control of the conversation. Joy Behar awkwardly shuffled some papers. Sunny Hostin cleared her throat. And one of the producers was waving their hands off camera trying to move things along. But it was too late. The damage was done.
ABC having just paid $15 million for a defamation lawsuit would think not to engage in conspiracy theories about assassination attempts, but I guess that's too much to ask from The View.
The second Whoopi Goldberg stormed off The View, the internet erupted. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, every social media platform was on fire. People could not believe what they had just watched. And within minutes, number Whoopi walks out was trending everywhere. It wasn't just a debate anymore. It had turned into a full-scale war online.
Watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists.
Conservative voices ate it up. They flooded Twitter with reactions like, Whoopi couldn't handle the heat, Karoline Leavitt owned her, and the truth hurts, huh, Whoopi? Clips of Leavitt's final mic drop moment were being shared on loop, with people praising her for keeping her cool, while Whoopi walked away from the conversation. But Whoopi's fans weren't staying quiet either. Her supporters came rushing to her defense, calling Leavitt a right-wing agitator and claiming that Whoopi was right to walk away from what they saw as nonsense. One viral tweet read, "Good for Whoopi. No need to argue with someone twisting the facts." And the media, divided as ever. Conservative outlets were calling it The View's biggest meltdown in years, while left-leaning sites were framing Whoopi as a hero who refused to engage with bad faith arguments.
President of ABC has now announced that Whoopi Goldberg has been suspended for 2 weeks from The View.
Whoopi Goldberg walking off The View wasn't just a moment, it was a statement. But now the big question is, what happens next? Does Whoopi address the elephant in the room on the next episode, or does she pretend like it never happened? Because if there's one thing we know about The View, it's that they love to spin a controversy when it benefits them. And then there's Karoline Leavitt. After standing toe-to-toe with one of Hollywood's most outspoken liberals, does she get an invitation back? Or was she too much for daytime TV? Because let's be real, ABC producers might love the ratings spike, but do they want a repeat of Whoopi storming off? This moment wasn't just about one fiery exchange, it highlighted a much bigger issue. The gap between older liberal figures and younger conservative voices is wider than ever. Whoopi represents the generation that fought for social change decades ago. But Leavitt? She represents the new wave of conservatives who believe the country is in crisis right now. And when those two forces collide, it isn't just a debate, it's a culture war. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below